Hello again, guys. This morning, the morning of May 19th, I'm going to talk to you about working on window number 6, which I'm literally just beginning the physical work on, although the design work started months ago, at least 5 months ago, maybe more, when the initial designs of the front came out. And this window, which right now is called Spirit of Prayer, and that's what it will be, has undergone quite a number of transformations in the beginning. My intention was that all the windows at the front would be Spirit of something, of blank, and it's worked out that way. Uh, but the first incarnation of this window was going to be Spirit of Faith, and the window was much smaller. I'll put in little video shots from my designs of all of these, and you can see that it's basically based on the idea of Albrecht Dürer's praying hands. And somebody pointed out, better be careful what color you make those hands, because I've been trying to be so inclusive in all the rest of it, and it's true. And that kind of fueled the next part of the design is how do I deal with that? And I stumbled upon a kind of a neon lit up image of the praying hands by Dürer, and I thought, oh, I can do that in stained glass, and so that became the idea. Plus, at that time, Barb changed the design and made the window much longer than taller than it was before, and so I had to change the design anyway. So I liked the idea also of having a dove in it, the Holy Spirit. And so I combined those two because the very first image of Spirit of Faith was actually the Holy Spirit. I forgot about that, but I'll put that in there as well. Um, so then I combined Spirit of Faith and the praying hands, and that's when I thought, okay, I can change the name of this window to Spirit of Prayer, although I went back and forth on that a bunch of times, and started fiddling around with color schemes because you may not notice it, but there's certainly each window has a particular color tonality, and I had not hit on red and green yet. And so complementary colors, I thought that could be really knock your eyes out, stunning up there as well. So that's what I finally decided on is a very dark red and some green in the design. Um, and as I worked on that, I thought, okay, I have only the Christian symbology for prayer. And again, trying to be very inclusive, I Googled up all the various other images of prayer, and I decided the window's not big enough to include them all, but I thought there are two images that I really like that I certainly can include in there and cover an awful lot of uh, territory. So I included an image of native prayer and also an image of Muslim prayer, the bowing down. Uh, so anyway, that's the version that I finally came up with. So this window has undergone quite an awful lot of sweat and toil in terms of design, perhaps more than any of the other panels. And I hope that it's covering enough base with it. The other thing that I had to struggle with in the design a little bit is the beam of light between the Dürer hands and the Holy Spirit. And I didn't want to make that one directional, so I didn't make it as if it came from the dove going to the hands or came from the hands going to the dove. I want it to be a two-way communication because there's also beams of light coming out from the Holy Spirit that are pretty much the work of the Holy Spirit in the world as well. So you've got that interaction and result as well. Then realized, okay, the other two representations of prayer on here are not Trinitarian necessarily. Certainly, the Muslim one is not. And so I thought I'd better not have that beam going from the third person of the Trinity to the native prayer symbol or to the Muslim one. So I stopped it there. Doesn't mean that doesn't happen. I just thought best not to make an emphasis of that. So all of these things you have to think about very deeply when you're doing a window like that. So this is the cartoon for it right now. I of course, if I stand far enough away from the camera for you to see it all, then you see virtually nothing at all. So there's the Holy Spirit, the dove, and or you can just think of it as a dove if you want, I suppose. And Durer's praying hands, and the native representation, and then the Muslim prayer, and then the title at the bottom. And I could talk to you about the various ways that I've had to change my design that strengthen it to decrease lines across there, but that's all technical stuff, and you're not concerned with that. So now I'm going to show you a bit of the process of cutting glass for the thing. Actually, in this window, as in all of the windows that I've done, there's a mixture of cutting actual colored glass, stained glass, from the stained glass store, and working on clear glass and painting it with the amazing PBO paints that I get, and being able therefore to do things that you can't really do in traditional stained glass. And I like working in both media, so this one also will have that combination of techniques. So anyway, I thought you might think that they are like to see a discovery that I made this morning. This very, very deep red, which is stunning color. I paired it up with this incredible amber that I found. Of course, you're not seeing it with light coming through it. I am. And I thought, oh my gosh, those are just so gorgeous together. So I changed my design just this morning to include hints of that amber because it's just too stunning. The other one is red and green like that. So anyway, there'll be yellow in there too. All right, so cutting glass. So I've got the cartoon here, and I actually already drew this out, but I erased it so that I could do it again for you to show you the whole process. So a lovely piece of amber, and I know that this right here is going to be a piece. So let me bring it a little closer here. All right, so let's see. I just simply place the glass onto the cartoon, and hopefully the glass is not so dark that I can't see what's going on. And this one is just allowing me to see the lines underneath there. I take a silver pen from Staples, and a lousy silver pen. Where's the good one? Okay. And I mark on the glass, just looking through. There's nothing super technical about this. I can do it with overhead transparencies and all of that, but I don't need to. It even moved just a little bit, but I put it back there. Okay, so I've got that on. I drew it on the wrong side of the glass. I drew it on the long side. Hang on. I'm only human. I'm letting you see my problems. How's that? I don't want to waste glass, so I'm going to put it on the smaller side there, like that. Okay. All right, there we go. Now we're hopping. So repeat that process. Like that. You notice I went past where I want the glass to wind up. Now, this kind of a cut is not a difficult one because that's not much of a curve. Sometimes what we call inside curves can be a real disaster for cutting glass because the glass just doesn't want to do it. It'll break along a line that it likes, not what you like. But okay, so this is an ordinary glass cutter, although you sometimes have a hard time finding these ones. They have plastic ones that are useless as far as I'm concerned. And In the stained glass books, they tell you to hold the glass cutter like this. That's absolute crap. It doesn't work for me. Maybe it works for them, but I really need to press hard. So you'll see that I press quite hard on the glass to score it there. By the way, what I just did was WD-40 to lubricate the blade. And just want to make sure that it's on nice stable ground, or I'll wind up cracking it. Can you see? Yeah. Okay. Hear the scoring. And yeah, most of it's always freehand, and sometimes it goes a little doolally. And that almost did, but it's still good. That's the part that I need. Okay, now this is the part that people mostly don't know about. There's a reason why there's a big ball on the end of that. Is because you tap the glass to extend the score from the top. It cracks itself down underneath. Because at the moment, I was going to say at the moment I can't break it off, but obviously I cracked it far enough, and as simple as that. That's the glass breaking off. Sometimes it is much more difficult than that, and sometimes much less cooperative. Okay, so now we've got to do this diagonal bit. Oops, see, this desk is not absolutely level. There's a little divot there. Okay, now I can show you what those deals are about. You may never have noticed those deals on a glass cutter, but those are simply there so that you can do exactly what I just did. Pry off things, or do what stained glass artists call grossing, which is to break off bits. This next one will be interesting because it's way diagonal. And way diagonal ones never ever want to go the way you like. And I should stop designing glass that has way diagonal ones, but I just do it. When you cut glass, don't back up or you wreck your cutter. Okay, now, if I'm lucky, I can just tap this and eventually it'll break itself. Boy, this is nice glass to cut. Holy smokes. You see that? That is absolutely perfect. I was going to tell you other techniques, but I don't need to. So that is essentially the process of cutting glass. Now, over here, I have my grinder, and that will enable me to tighten up the cut because it's a little bit high there. This is a diamond grinder. It's not that expensive, about $100. And it's got its own water tank that lubricates it. And it's indispensable when you're doing stained glass. That's not bad. I will run all four edges, even though they're pretty good, because I don't want them to have a funny shape that makes it hard to foil later. So that, in brief, is the process of cutting and grinding glass for stained glass. Good morning.